Year after year, the LG C series is regarded as one of the more popular TVs, and it has a reputation of being really great for gamers. But I feel like that reputation isn't something that they necessarily earned in the last couple of years. Has this changed for 2024? And have we seen improvements just in general to the LG C series? Is it a better TV for watching movies and TV shows than it has been in the past? We're going to answer all of those questions in this full review of the LG C4. Now, one of the first things you'll notice when you are installing the LG C series, if you're familiar with the past C series TVs, it is the same design and stand as last year's TV, with some differences to the back of the TV having a different texture overall. Now, I really do like this design. I think that it is one of the better TV designs on the market that you can buy because it is so lightweight, and it is just going to look very premium on the actual table that it is sitting on. And you can also have the choice to wall mount the TV if you want to do that as well. And the TV is just very light and easy to handle. So I like this overall from LG. It is something that I think they do a really good job with the C series on. Now, one thing that is new for 2024 that wasn't on the LG C3 is the ability to do 144Hz gaming for PC gamers. But if you are a console gamer, of course, this is really not going to matter to you, and the difference between the C3 and the C4, well, it may be minor for the things that you are looking for in your TV. But we'll talk about gaming a little bit later. As far as things that might look a little bit different goes, WebOS is a little bit updated from last year, although it does feel somewhat the same as last year's version. The updated menu system from last year carries over, and navigating through the system settings is pretty much the same as well. Now, this hasn't really changed in the last couple of years as far as navigation goes, and of course you're still stuck with the same remote. Carrying over from last year is the AI picture wizard, where you are going to select the image that you prefer, and then it makes a picture preset for you. The end result isn't that terrible by any means, but I do think that sticking to one of the main modes like filmmaker mode, movie mode, vivid mode, and standard mode, and seeing if one of those fits your preference better. But a lot of people do like this AI picture mode, so just try it out and see if it can make a mode that you actually like. You might be surprised with the results. Of course, just like last year, you do have the always on functionality of the LG C series TVs, which is going to allow you to talk to the TV and tell it what to do if you don't have a remote in your hand. This can be useful whether the TV is on or off. If you like that sort of thing, maybe you will find it useful. I would say that as far as sound quality for TVs goes, this one is pretty mediocre. It could get the job done in a smaller room, but I certainly do recommend a sound system or a sound bar at least to get the most out of this TV. Now, let's talk about what really matters the most, and that is picture quality, and that's what we cover the most on this channel. So let's talk about what I love and what I don't like about the picture quality. Now, pretty typical what you're seeing out of the C series from year to year. There hasn't been too many changes, but this year it does appear to be brighter than the LG C3 of last year. And I thought that in terms of trading blows with the Samsung QD OLED, at times, brightness-wise, the S90D and the C4 did trade blows quite a bit, and sometimes the C4 was actually brighter than the S90D. I mention this because last year the LG C3 could not keep up with the S90C in most cases. It looked like a complete mismatch. So, having the S90D and the C4 next to each other, I thought the C4 did a lot better than the C3 did against the S90C. Of course, you're not going to get the same color brightness as a QD OLED, so you do still have limitations there. And this limitation shows its head a little bit more on gaming, but again, I will cover gaming a little bit later in the video, I promise. This TV can produce a stunning image out of the box for most users when it comes down to watching movies and TV shows. This is a really good TV overall. There's something for everybody when it comes down to the picture modes you can select, and of course you still have Dolby Vision on this TV as well. Now when it comes down to color performance, it definitely is more or less the same as last year's TV, except for with this one in mind with color. I did notice that the yellows tended to look a bit green for the LG C3 last year that I reviewed, and this one didn't have that same anomaly, so that was really nice to see with the LG C4. Of course, this could vary from unit to unit, and I'm not somebody who judges accuracy. I just really check it out of the box and make observations to try to get a very similar example to what you would be getting. I also noted that the shadow detail appeared to be a little bit better than what I had noted from the C3 last year as well. I thought the C3 had a bit of black crush last year, and the C4 did a much better job even out of the box than the LG C3 did. Of course, as time goes on with the panel, the black crush will get better on all OLED TVs, so do keep that in mind. So what about the picture processing? Does it appear to be better than the LG C3 in that department? With low bitrate streaming, it is a little bit better than the LG C3, but it is not something that I would spend extra money on the LG C4 unless it was a significant gap in the price. I also want to note that the LG C4 does have a little bit of a green tint off angle, and this can really appear on skin tones as well. Makes people look a little bit sick sometimes when you are watching movies or TV shows at a slight off angle. So that's something that you might want to keep in mind if you plan on watching this TV off angle. There's also a bit of a green push. From everything that I noticed, this TV does seem to perform very similar to the LG G3 last year, just not as bright, and there is no heatsink for the TV. If you're looking at the G3 and the C4 and you're trying to choose between them and they're about the same price, still get the G3. It is a much better TV than the LG C4. So just keep those things in mind, and you also get a 5-year panel warranty. But I would say the LG G4 is worth going for because the G4 is going to be better than both the G3 and the C4 by a pretty good margin in my opinion. The G4 just does something that those other TVs aren't doing with the picture processing, and I do think it takes the TVs to another level. So if you have the budget for a G4, that's the LG OLED that I can recommend for everybody if you can strive for it. If you can't strive for it, I do think that there are perhaps better TVs out there than the LG C4 in the same price bracket. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. Now, really quickly, I just want to mention that I did purchase this TV for review, and if you want to help support the channel, one of the best ways that you can do so is by buying your next TV or any tech product on one of my affiliate links in the description below to help us get more reviews in the future. Thank you guys so much for your support. Now let's continue on with the rest of this review. Alright, so now let's talk about the elephant in the room here when it comes down to the LG C series, and that always has been for me game mode. I think that game mode is something where I think LG has a somewhat highly overrated reputation when it comes down to being the best TV for gamers at this price bracket. The LG C series just isn't going to be that TV compared to other TVs you can buy for the same exact price. And I'll tell you exactly why I feel that is right now. So LG in general has a weaker game mode as far as color brightness goes, and as far as brightness in general goes. With HDR, it doesn't have as much color brightness as other TVs, and with SDR, it doesn't have as much brightness as other TVs. And when you're looking at it next to the S90D, which happens to be the same price at the time of filming, it's a complete mismatch in gaming with those things in mind. And when it comes to color gradients, there's a lot more color banding on the LG C series as well. So you're going to see issues there, where the S90D, it will not have these issues. I also thought that the Bravia 8 had a better game mode overall, picture quality wise, than the LG C series. Unfortunately, with standard dynamic range, you still have locked out peak brightness, and it's just going to look like the dimmer TV overall next to the Bravia 8. And certainly next to the S90D, again, that difference will be night and day, unfortunately. But those things shouldn't really surprise anybody who has been following this channel. I've been covering that with the C series for a while now. So while I love this TV for TV watching and movies, for gaming, it's just harder to recommend. And this year, there's a new problem with game mode, and that's going to be temporary image retention. This is something that will show its face over and over as you are gaming on the LG C series. If you just have an image hang on the screen for a second and then you change your camera view, you will notice an outline of that image appear as a ghostly outline, like it's temporarily burned into your screen. Now, don't have fear, this isn't burn-in, this is just temporary image retention. It is something that will be an annoyance when you are gaming on this TV though. This also happens with the Sony OLEDs. I have noticed that in the past, but it does seem to be more of a problem on the LG C series as it doesn't clean up as fast as those TVs. Although the Sony OLEDs do have the same exact problem when it comes down to their OLEDs. The A95, however, is really clean when it comes down to temporary image retention. I didn't have any issues with those, and that seems to be the case with all premium OLED TVs like the S95D and the LG G4. Really didn't have any issues with temporary image retention regarding gaming with those TVs. Now, one thing I do have to mention is that this TV is available in 42-inch and 48-inch, and for those sizes, I actually do like this TV because there's just not any other options available. Now, when it comes down to 55-inch and up, I certainly think that if you're doing any gaming, there are better TVs available for the price. For movies and TV shows, I like this TV a lot though, and I think that people that choose this, if they're not gaming at all, you are probably going to get a really good experience overall. That said, I think that you can get almost the same experience with the LG C3, though you will get a brighter experience out of the C4. There's certainly improvements with brightness in mind for the C4, and motion seems to be better on the C4 as well. So is the C4 an upgrade over the C3? It is if you are watching movies and TV shows. If you're gaming, I think that it's pretty much the same, if not a step back from the C3. The C3 wasn't a very good gaming TV in the first place. I kind of find it unfortunate because I really like the LG G4 a lot, and I wish that there was a lot of the same characteristics rolling down to the LG C series, but unfortunately it doesn't have MLA, and it does still have those problems in game mode that I constantly talk about, and that's a shame. Hopefully in the future this changes with the LG C series, but until then, strive for the LG G4 if you can. If not, go with the different brand for OLED TVs. Do you agree? Disagree? Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. I'd love to hear your take. Now, if you want to see this TV compared to the LG G4 to see if it's worth spending the extra money on, check out this comparison right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you in the next one.